Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Odd One Out with your host Mark. Today I'll be talking about the series of films that could be called the Harry Palmer Trilogy. Specifically, the Ipress File, Funeral in Berlin and $1 Billion Brain.
Oh yes sir, I just love the army sir.
This set of films came out in consecutive years: 1965 Ipress File, 66 Funeral in Berlin, 67 $1 Billion Brain, and they were the brainchild somewhat of Harry Saltzman, who was a co-producer of the Bond series at this time with Cubby Broccoli. So that we're talking about, it was Thunderball, You Only Live Twice kind of era Bond. And he wanted to make something, a spy thriller, that was more gritty and realistic, a kind of anti-Bond. And this started with the first film, Ipress File. Now, I've read a couple of Michael Caine's autobiographies, and he talks to some length about Ipress File, mainly about how the name of the character came about. Because apparently in the original books, written by Len Dayton, the character is not named at all. It's written in the first person, and he's never given a name. And Michael Caine does talk about how they came out with the name Harry Palmer. One is, Michael Caine reckons that they were talking about what's a really boring name. They wanted to come up with a boring name. And he actually said, Harry's a boring name, to Harry Saltzman directly to his face, without realising what he said. He said it all went quiet, and suddenly Harry Saltzman laughed his head off, and yeah, Harry was the name. And then another guy said, the most boring person I ever met was a guy called Palmer, so they came up with the name Harry Palmer. And Harry Palmer is now like the official name of both the books and the films. Well, he's named in the films, even though I believe Len Dayton has written several books with this character, and he never names them, but they're just called Harry Palmer. Right, Ipress File concerns. Now, the fun thing about this is, it is a kind of anti-Bond, though that changes somewhat, and they've tried to make him kind of working class, concerned with how much he's getting paid, not that interested in the job, kind of press ganged into the job. It appears he was either does this job or he gets court-martialed for thieving or something like that, so he's kind of press ganged into it. But he's been involved in surveillance, which is kind of boring, but they get him to go on another job where they're trying to figure out why some professors disappeared. They want him back. They want Harry gets involved in negotiations to return him, and there's a lot of to and fro. The plot not that important. It's more kind of fun to see Michael Caine just looking peeved, kind of above everything in that he's not that engaged, but he's kind of making jokes about stuff, not in a Bond way, in a kind of much more dry, sardonic way that isn't about a quick one-liner when someone dies. He's cracking them off all the time, but he's just not that impressed with people, and it's kind of fun to watch. He's also big on cooking, which is kind of interesting, and he's like going on there's things like he's walking around the supermarket shopping, and his boss meets him in the supermarket to kind of brief him, and they're both walking around trolleys. Kind of fun to see compared to James Bond. I kind of enjoyed this. So I think this is my second favourite of the three I saw. It's the most kind of down-to-earth one and the purest one of the anti-spy, I think. It kind of glamours up a little more as the series goes on. Though, this is the most down. It's a great ending, though. There's I'm going to spoil this if you haven't seen it. There's a section where Caine gets brainwashed and he has to resist it, and he uses pain as his technique of trying to resist the brainwashing, and in the end he has to decide who's double crossing who, and basically shoot someone based on his decision. It's kind of a cool film. I enjoyed it. I'd recommend it, and I'd give it 63 out of 100. Though that I think is a little unfair. It's more enjoyable than I think. It's good to see Caine in this role. I think this is one of his defining roles, so he's kind of fond of it. In his autobiography, he only really talks about this one. Okay, the second film was Funeral in Berlin. This one is much more a Cold War thriller. It's about double crosses and defectors in Berlin. It involves East Germans and West Germans and double crosses. And I kind of like this. It's kind of hard to follow the plot. If you forget about the plot and just watch it, it's kind of fun. There's a funny kind of Russian guy in it who makes a reappearance in $1 Billion Brain, who kind of gets on fine with Harry. He recognises him as a proletariat like himself, and this guy's a good communist and won't say anything bad. It was kind of forward thinking, this film, in that it wasn't presenting the Russian as particularly evil. Just, he had a different set of beliefs, and that was it. And I kind of enjoyed it. One of the things I liked about it is there was much more Harry's character in it than in Ipress File. I didn't mention he's a wisecracker. It was kind of only occasionally surfaced in the Ipress File. In this one, it was much more to the fore, and that was the best thing about the film. The film was kind of meandering and all over the place. It was hard to follow what was going on and who was double-crossing who, and you just had to take it as an experience, really. But it was okay. I didn't mind it. I'm glad I saw it. I probably would never watch it again. And I'd give it 58 out of 100. Now, the last film in this set from the 60s is $1 Billion Brain. Now, this, I think, was the first feature, or very early feature in the filmography of Ken Russell, who went on to make all sorts, Tommy, The Devils, all sorts of really fantastic films. And this was his first attempt. And the quality of the direction really shone through. There's great music in this film. There's like a crashing piano sort of score, as well as the use of theremin, which is really good in this film. The soundtrack for this film must be great. I think I might try and acquire it. It just sounded good, and there's certain visuals looked really, really terrific. However, the first half of the film I was sitting there watching, thinking, this is it's like the others. I can't understand really what's going on. And I don't really want to engage enough to actually concentrate hard enough to try and follow. I'm just going to watch it because it looks great and it sounds great. And it was fine. And about halfway through, or maybe, about halfway through, he meets the villain of the piece, which is like an oil billionaire in America who's obsessed with beating world communism. Man, and the film really moves into a high gear then and becomes really fantastic. This guy's nuts. It's kind of like he's channeling some of the characters from Dr. Strangelove. He's going on about communism and how he's never left Texas because outside of Texas the air's polluted by the communists, and that's why he's never left Texas, because the air's good there and all this, that and the other. And it's very funny. His name, I can't remember what his name is now, but he's got like this symbol that looks really, really like a Nazi eagle symbol, but it's kind of slightly different, but you can definitely see elements of Nazism in both that symbol and the way he acts. And he's got this mad plan to invade Latvia, I think, which will prompt the Russian war with Russia and all sorts, this, that and the other. In between all this, Carl Malden's in there, and you think he's a bad guy, but basically all he's doing is, he knows this bloke's a nutcase, and he's kind of trying to cream off money off of the whole operation by persuading this guy he's got 100 field agents in Finland and he needs to pay them. In fact, there are no agents at all. This guy's taken all the money, it's all filtered into his accounts, so he's interfering with the plans. And somehow Palmer gets involved in it all. He thinks there's some sort of biological agent weaponry going on. He has to deliver eggs that contain this thing, but it turns out it's like there's double crosses and triple crosses. Carl Malden's merely a con man. He's trying to persuade Harry to go along with it, so he'll get some money too. But Palmer's just more concerned about starting World War III, what? And the endings just be absolutely bizarre. In fact, I'm not going to spoil that because it is very, very odd, but kind of funny and kind of horrifying at the same time. It amazed me. There's bits in this film that amaze me. It's got a PG certificate. The ending is one, but there's also a bit where there's like a love scene where he's kissing this girl and she's like running her fingers up and down his back in an odd way, and you think, what's she doing? And then she pulls out this needle while they're kissing and slowly tries to find a point in his back. You think, oh God, she's going to paralyse him. But he manages to figure it out and stop her in time. But it's like, really creeps you out. And you think, really, is this a PG? Surely a 12 or something. But it was kind of good. And as I say, it looked great and it sounded great. Now, I only watched these three. There are two other Harry Palmer films made in the 90s, which was kind of a return, obviously, as Harry as an older character, older spy, called Bullet to Beijing and Midnight in St. Petersburg, 95 and 96 they were made. I think they were made back to back. They were direct to TV or direct to DVD or whatever kind of things. They never got to the cinemas. Now, wasn't prepared to watch these. I'd only ever heard bad things about them, but I did have a look at some of the reviews, and some people think the first one in particular is quite good. So it might be worth checking out. They're not of interest to me, and I won't be watching them. I could definitely recommend watching this series. Oh, and $1 Billion Dream I haven't scored yet. $1 Billion Brain, I would give it 75 out of 100. I enjoyed it that much. The second half in particular really ups where he finds the mad American, and it's really funny to watch now when you consider some of the Republican politicians and how they clown about with their ridiculous ideas. You can see this. It's played by Ed Begley Senior. Is the mad character, and it's all about having these computers control it all. But the computer's MacGuffin, really. It's a cool thing to see, and he's got a cool controller. So Harry Palmer's definitely going into James Bond territory with this. But again, he's kind of detached. It's like it's not a case of him stopping an evil mastermind. It's a case of him like being, what the hell's going on, when he meets a nutcase who's ranting about stuff. It's like, and being kind of detached and like bemused by it all. It's kind of fun. I definitely like $1 Billion Brain the best out of the three. I would recommend this series, as I say, worth a watch. $1 Billion Brain, I think, might be a buy, actually. It's that good. Okay then, bye.
Someone is trying to frame me. You've got to help me.
But you're just too hot, Palmer.
Follow Harry Palmer. What happens to him concerns you. Yes, you. And you.
You will forget all about the Ipress File. You have forgotten your name.
In truth, his name is Michael Caine, and no one will forget his name. Michael Caine. He walks straight into sensational stardom in the Ipress File as he gets right under the skin of the brash, cocky, wry-humored Harry Palmer. The soldier seconded from the army for security duties, who's never far away from a girl, and always closer than close to trouble.
Now get this. I'm going to tell you until I know you're clean. And if you're not clean, I'm going to kill you.
Both these men cover the British security network, but each keeps his own counsel and his own secrets. The one on the left is Dolby of the Home Office, a passed-over major, but nothing passes him by now.
A word in your shell-like ear. If there's anything to be reported to Ross, I report it. Understand?
Yes, sir.
This is Colonel Ross of the War Office.
I want you to do a job for me. Any choice? Frankly, no.
She's Jean Corte, one of the agents Harry works alongside. But whose side is she on?
You're working for Ross. He sent you here.
Don't be silly. I'm working for Dolby.
Between the kisses and the double crosses, they are all working for somebody, whilst you get the closest workover of them all as you actively share the stark, dangerous secrets of the Ipress File. Move over for today's most sensational hypnotic meeting with suspense.